Hello and welcome to the Get Your Happy TV with your host, Tanya B. Drake, spiritual life coach and blogger. If you are new to the channel, welcome and subscribe if you haven't already. And I want to discuss the art of communication. We're finishing up our series. So if you haven't seen the art of communication with your spouse, that was really good. The art of communication with yourself, love it, still working on it, always, every day we should be. And excuse me, fix myself. All right, so yes, so the art of communication with self. I got a little glow going on, so I believe I've been communicating with myself effectively, and I've been seeing results, and I feel good, and that's what you should establish, a feel-good relationship, healthy relationship with yourself. So let's dive in. So the last series, actually, I take this back. I said I wasn't going to give it away until the end, but I am going to add in another. I got a lot of good feedback with the art of communication, so I had to figure out what other bonus can I put in there. Someone sent me an email, Miss Tara, and she stated, give me more. I want to know more. And her struggle was saying no. Yes, that's going to be the next one, the art of communication and the art of saying no, which I know we all struggle with. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and why we should say no. But anyway, I don't want to give that one away because I can, and I'm so excited. So yes, stay tuned for a bonus of the art of communication. That one's going to be the art of saying no. So stick around for that one. But today we are talking about the art of communication with your community. So as always, I have my notes. Yes, I have them in front of me. You caught me. So I'm still working out my magic. There are other YouTubers that I did get in contact with, and they mentioned that they have sometimes prompters in front of them. Some of them do have their notes, index cards. I played around with using my tablet, so maybe in the next video I'll get rid of the paper. But until then, there's good content on this paper, so I will hold on to it. So yes, the art of communication with your community. We communicate all the time via text, via email, via phone, via Skype, FaceTime. So when we communicate in these in these different alternatives to just being on the phone or face to face, this can be misinterpreted in the wrong context. No, I did not mean to say it that way. No, I put the exclamation mark because I was excited. No, I meant to put a period there, and or you just get these run-on sentences, and we need to make sure that we're communicating effectively with our community. Who is our community? Our community consists of our friends, our coworkers, our classmates. This can be, strangers, or this can be whenever we're completing transactions or an exchange of communication with others outside of us, ourselves, or our spouse. So we want to establish peace whenever we're communicating with our community. How do we communicate with peace? So if you saw the other two videos, the art of communication with self, we were able to communicate, and with our spouse, love. And so now, and to listen to ourselves, but with our community, we want to establish peace. So how do we do that? In order to do that for our P, and I'm not going to even say it anymore. I know you have your pen and your paper in your hand, or you have your tablet. I know you're taking notes. I'm not going to even say it. I'm not going to say it. So yes, I hope you have your notes. I hope you're taking notes and you have something to write with. So how do we do that? How do we communicate with peace, patience, and purpose? P was so I could have gone on for so long, but I knew that in order to understand the purpose, you have to be patient. So again, this is think about it. Think about your coworkers. Think about your boss. Think about that exchange with your community. If you're out paying a utility bill, or if you're going to the bank, or you're stopping into a grocery store and you're speaking to the cashier, if someone stops you and they're asking you for directions, this is your community. And so you want to have understanding of their purpose, your purpose. Okay, so understanding that the other person you're communicating with has a divine purpose, whether that be within their line of work, their purpose in your life, or for their very own existence. Okay, so think about the reason why someone is in your life, right? We always say, that person has a purpose in your life. Okay, how? Why? So when you acknowledge and accept their purpose, you will begin to have the ability to navigate accordingly, right? So when you forgive, and I'm going to expand on this. Just give an example of my grandmother. Whenever she would go to the bank, right? Whenever she would go to the bank, she'd say, Tanya, and this is when I was a kid, and she'd say, Tanya, come with me to the bank. And, don't go through that lane. I'm gonna go through that lane. I want to deal with her. And that's what she used to say. And I'm saying, Grandma, why are you doing that? Why are you just, why do you have this direct person that you want to work with? And what I realized is she established, they understood each other's purpose, right? So whenever my grandmother would go in and she would deal with that one person, she would say, I would watch the exchange. I can't remember the young lady's name. Let's say Jennifer. And so Jennifer, Miss Juanita, how are you today? How can I help you? Good seeing you again. And they would complete the transaction at the bank, whatever it was. And, my grandmother would explain to her, oh, I appreciate you. You helped me. You take care of all of my needs. And so that was the purpose. They understood each other's purpose, right? So the teller knew that my grandmother, was the customer. I had to assist her with her needs, whatever kind of banking needs that she needed assistance with. She could do that. She could translate that and assist her with that. My grandmother understood the teller's purpose, right? She understood that whatever banking needs or questions or concerns that she had, she could answer them, right? So there was that relationship as a community, that bond for them to understand each other's reason of being. Okay, she understood her line of work. She understood her as a customer. Okay, so that's what I mean. So if you have someone that you're dealing with at work, get to know and understand their purpose. Why are they your manager? What role do they play in your life, right? So establishing patience for the person you're communicating with builds trust and loyalty. Okay, so my grandmother had she was loyal, to that teller, Jennifer. So she knew whenever she would walk in that bank, she knew who she wanted to work with directly. And vice versa. So patience allows both of you to become fully aware of your own purpose. Jennifer was patient with my grandmother. My grandmother was patient with her. My grandmother always say, she had someone coming through the drive-through. 1 minute, Miss Pillett, or Juanita, 1 minute. Let me go ahead and help this person. Who's coming through the drive-through. My grandmother would say, "Take your time. Oh yeah, no worry." So they understood each other's purpose, and they were able to be patient with each other. Huge. Think about that. How often are you patient with the person that's driving slow in front of you? How often are you patient with the person that's pumping gas and you're waiting and you're saying, "Gosh, what's taking them so long?" So just understand the different roles people play in your life. And hell, they might be teaching you patience. So yes, I love that one. I always have one that that I like so much out of each lesson or video. And today it's patience and purpose. So that one's always a challenge I believe, for everyone, even myself. Okay, so with peace, that E is for empathy. The ability to understand and share feelings of another. That's huge because oftentimes we can get caught up within our own feelings. We don't know necessarily how the other person is feeling themselves. All we know is, what we feel. And so we choose to react. But instead of reacting, you want to just have empathy for the person that's speaking. Okay, so to have empathy, the first step is to listen, and to listen without interruptions. Just like I mentioned, not to just quickly respond. I know someone who does that. They want to respond immediately, and so in the back of my mind, I'm saying, did you hear me? Did you hear anything that I just mentioned? And so that's another way communication can be misinterpreted. To put yourself in the other person's shoes, take a minute, after someone has explained how they're feeling or why they're frustrated or why they're venting, take a minute, listen, and figure out what it is that they're really trying to get you to understand, right? So a good exercise for this is to repeat what's said to you. I actually learned this through a line of work that I was doing with a company that I was working with, is that I had to make sure that I was listening, and to make sure that I was listening for their feelings or what was really being said. And sometimes, excuse me, I apologize, those feelings are not even stated. Goodness, I didn't eat anything. I had some tea. But yeah, those things aren't stated, and we have to kind of pull those things out. Okay, so again, try repeating that. So I'm so frustrated that my computer just shut down on me. Oh my goodness, your computer shut down on you? Oh, I'm so sorry. So really just feel those emotions for the other person. So that way they know that you're listening, you're building that, that trust again. Trust is huge, and, it's something that we can always practice and exercise every day. So it's a verbal confirmation on your support and your concern. So I'll repeat that. Listening with empathy, it's a verbal confirmation of your support and your concern. So being able to communicate with your community with empathy is another way to translate awareness. Are you aware of what I just mentioned or what I'm feeling? And that you're available to listen to the other person's concerns. So this one's really good because we always try to figure out what we feel versus actually listening to that other person. So again, strangers, they're coming up to you and they're saying, "Where is this building? I'm so frustrated. I don't know where it is." So, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you're lost. Let me try to help you." So remember that it is okay to communicate with our community. So you don't always have to be fearful or misinterpret or, just kind of pass, that passive listening, what I discussed in the art of communication with spouse. So the next word here for A in peace is accountability. Ooh, this one's strong too, very strong. This actual lesson here, and so for accountability, you want to learn how to show up. You want to learn how to show up for yourself and for the other person, and figure out what it is that you can contribute. So showing up for yourself, showing up for your community, your workers, your classmates, your friends. This is taking responsibility. Okay, it allows you to take action, which when you uncover the results of communication. How does this look? So let me paint a picture here. How does accountability look? I know it can sound a little, funny, is how can I be accountable in my communication? So it goes like this. Using words like will, can, or deal. That's a deal. We got this. We can do this. It's a verbal commitment. Okay, so when you have that verbal commitment, it's a great tool when communicating in the professional atmosphere. So thinking about work or any kind of, deals, professional deals that you have going on, or projects, or, even in school, you want to make sure that you're being accountable to you and your schoolmate. And this is how you can contribute. So I learned this on the hard way once when I was at work. And this is during a time when I was at my day job and as an academic advisor, and I dropped the ball. Someone explained to me, hey, you were supposed to do such and such. Were you able to make that? Were you able to complete that task? And it's like, no, I totally forgot. I forgot it. And I apologize. And so, she walked off kind of upset. And so in that moment, I wanted to keep that trust. And in order to do that, I took action. How can I fix this? How can I be accountable for what I dropped the ball? The reason why I dropped the ball. So she didn't want to hear why. I just knew that I had to fix it and be accountable. So I followed through. I completed the task in another way. And so I was able to build that trust again. Okay. And I was able to take responsibility, to be accountable, and contribute to that commitment we had together. So when you think of accountability and communicating with peace, think about accountability, commitment, take action, results. Okay, so write that down. Accountability, take action, commitment, take action, and results. Okay, so that's a good one. I love it. Oh, we're getting it in today. We're doing really, really good. So this is good stuff. So I hope you write it down. Check in. So creativity. So the C in peace, that's going to be for creativity. So you want to get creative. So, this is how you make the magic happen. FaceTime, text, email, phone, those are all good. And that's, the new form of communicating now. But, kind gestures, don't forget those old school ways of being able to be creative, is, just kind gestures via, hey, let's grab tea, let's grab coffee, cards, handwritten letters, simply organic communication with whomever you're communicating with in your community. Kind gestures and being creative with it always leave a lasting impression. I think that one's always a go. Creativity is a great thing to have, and we always say that we lack it, but I think if you exercise it more, then you're able to just expand on it and do so much with it. And gain so many relationships and networks with creativity. So that's for C. And last, we are moving through this. So education. Um, as you all know, I am an advocate for education. It is so big. But most importantly with this one, when you're communicating with your community, you want to educate each other. Overall understanding is another way to conquer peace in your communication within the community, within your coworkers, your classmates, your boss, your coworkers, okay, your colleagues, your counterparts, all of them. You know, this earth, we are a diverse, world, and um, there is nothing more powerful than educating each other. So this can eliminate assumptions, uncertainty, and potential conflict within your friendships, your working relationships, and again, within your community. So education provides clarity and you're able to extend valid points, right? So example here are, culture, our religions, our spirituality, our social economics. So instead of passing judgment or assumption, it is better to educate ourselves to come to a peaceful approach in communication. We never like the feeling of being singled out. In order to communicate effectively with someone who may be different from you is just making sure that you're able to educate each other. So that kind of calms down all that funkiness that you may have going on, friction. So that's it for the art of communication. So don't be so sad because we have another one coming up. So the art of saying no, which I know is difficult for all of us. So stay tuned for that. And I figure I give you a bonus. If you like this video, please comment below. Feel free to, like and subscribe down below.